What's up guys, Anfield here, and today I'm going to review the Skorpion. Of course, it's a German tank and has a German name that is not that easy to pronounce 100% correctly in German, so rather than butcher it, I'm just going to call it the Skorpion, so apologies on that. It's a new Tier 8 German tank destroyer premium that will be released for sale on August 18th, or at least on the NA servers it will be. So basically I got it early and I got to run some battles in it and test the tank out, so I'm going to review it based on what I kind of found about the tank as well as what the stats say. So I'll let you guys know at the end of this review whether the tank is really worth it to buy, and I'll show you through replays in the background so you guys can watch some gameplay. So I have all the stats brought up for you here. If you want to take a look, you can pause the video at any point here just to take a look, go through them, familiarize yourself with them, so scrutinize whatever you want, but I'm obviously going to talk about a lot of this stuff in the actual battle, so I don't see a point to go over each individual thing when I get to the actual battles. I'll be talking about them anyway. When it comes to premium tanks, I'm hard to please. I'm rarely impressed with the premium tanks that are released. I just think most of them are pretty uncompetitive in tier, or they have something so wrong with them that it's really not worth the money to invest. And when Wargaming decided that no new premiums would have preferential matchmaking, as far as I was concerned, the future of premiums was very dire indeed. Now there have been a few bright spots since then regardless, such as the T-54 Mod 1, I quite enjoyed that tank. The IS-3A is quite good, but the two that stand out were the Mutts and the M46KR. However, neither of those two tanks are actually in the market at the moment. I'm not really sure what the decision behind that is, because I think those tanks are absolutely fantastic. It's so nice to have premiums that have reliable guns. It's unreal. But that being said, those tanks actually don't make that much money. They're fun to play, but I would also say that because of how the tanks are, what their mechanics are, they're more of a higher skill ceiling type of tank anyway, so it's not so easy for a lot of people to just pick those two up and do well. And then you have the IS-3A, which should have really been a solution to that problem. A tank based on the IS-3, of course, which is without a doubt the strongest tier 8 in the game. But even that, despite its armor values and the pretty powerful gun, still wasn't great. I mean, most of the time you played the tank, you kind of wished you were in the IS-3, and most of that had to do with the fact that it just didn't have the BL9. And a lot of what makes the IS-3, yes, the armor is very good, is the BL9, and the IS-3A gun just most of the time made you wish you were still playing an IS-3. Now, you'll have noticed I've been talking a lot about guns. That's been the main thing I've been talking about, and that's because it's so important for a premium tank to have a good gun. Now, the other aspects of the tank do matter. It is important to have other strong suits, but the gun is the most important thing. That's because that's how you make your money, and a premium tank is nothing if it doesn't make money. So part of the issues with, say, the Mutts and the KR is while they can make money, it's a lot harder to make money, especially for your average population, due to the fact that they're low damage guns, and it's a lot harder to do well in DPM tanks than it is to do well in alpha tanks for most people. So when you have a tank that does a lot of damage, you get a lot more for your money. Now, there is another issue that sometimes comes up, such as the IS-6, which has a good alpha gun, but lacks a lot in, well, penetration. Its penetration is terrible, and that coupled with the poor accuracy means that you often miss a lot of shots, you bounce a lot of shots, sometimes you're forced to fire APCR because you literally can't pen an equal tier tank, and so that leaves you lacking a lot of credits that you would otherwise be making. Of course, it is capable of making a lot of money in a game, but oftentimes you find yourself quite limited, and that's not something you want. You want something that will consistently be reliable and will consistently make you money. So how does the Skorpion's gun stand up to scrutiny? Well, very, very well. It has 490 alpha, which means you're going to pack a very powerful punch. It's not the highest alpha gun at tier 8, but it's still very high and still allows the tank to have a very competitive reload speed, which means you don't fire and then put yourself out of the battle for almost 20 seconds before you can reload again. It's very nice. The other aspect to the gun, of course, is it does have very reliable penetration. Now, this is so key because it means that as a premium tank, you don't really have to ever use your APCR rounds. Even when I was getting into tier 10 games, I didn't really mostly feel that I needed the APCR. Most of the time I stuck with my AP rounds. This was very important because it meant that I had a lot of credit earning capacity, especially because you make more money in tier 10 if you are able to do well. Now, the penetration is enough as well to make the tank already great, but then you have the fact that the gun is actually pretty reliable. It aims in relatively quickly, as well as the fact that it's pretty accurate when it is aimed in. It doesn't snap very well, and I would really be worried if it did snap very well, but it does pretty much hit its targets when it is aimed in, so it's really nice. It's not some massive big reticle that you see when you're trying to hit, so you're gonna hit most of your shots. As long as you aim them pretty well, they will hit their targets. Now this is really important because all these factors come together for this gun to be really good. I mean, as a premium tank, it means you're gonna make a lot of money. You're gonna hit your targets, you're gonna fire quite a lot, you're gonna do a lot of damage when you do hit, and of course you don't really need to dip into those premium shells, which also is going to dip into your credit earning capacity. So what else does the Skorpion do well? Well, it's incredibly fast, which is a very nice feature to have because a gun being really good is nice, but getting that gun in the game can often be just as important. If you can't get to the battle, you can't get to the fighting, you're not going to get as much damage out of that battle. Well, the Skorpion, you're really not going to have a problem. If you like to be on the front lines all the time like me, good. You're going to be able to get there all the time. You're just going to be so fast. Now, of course, you know, a lot of these paper tanks like the Skorpion, you know, sometimes it is better to camp, but I most of the time can't bring myself to do that. So yeah, it's very fast, so you can get to a flank and you can also run away pretty quickly, which is a really nice attribute to have. So an almost perfect gun with very few drawbacks and some blistering speeds. You're probably thinking to yourself, well, this tank must have some pretty serious flaws elsewhere. So yes, let's get into the downsides. First up, a simple one, the size of the tank. It's huge. So yeah, you're gonna be a pretty big target, especially if you're playing on the front lines, or if you get lit, you're gonna be pretty much a very easy tank to hit. You don't have the low profile that the Borsig has. You're huge. Now, the other problem there, like I said about getting lit, is it has very poor camo value. In fact, camo value similar to that of the Grill 15. So you should be able to go back and see just how bad the concealment rating is. You can compare that to other similar TDs, such as the Borsig, which has absolutely fantastic camo. However, the Skorpion has very bad camo. You're going to have to be pretty far back to avoid being seen. The tank, of course, has no armor whatsoever, just like the Grill 15, so you're pretty much going to be very vulnerable to most guns, as well as the fact that anything packing a big HE punch, such as a T49 or artillery, as I gladly found out, you're going to probably lose almost all of your hit points. A T49 will almost always roll 900 plus on you if it manages to hit you. So that's not a pleasant thing, and because you don't have any armor, it does limit your capacity on the front lines. You have to be very careful. Try not to take too much hits. The modules are not too bad, but the armor is pretty wretched, so you're going to get penned. And while in a straight line, the tank is blisteringly quick, it is so slow to turn. If you're trying to move around from, you know, the kind of area you're in, kind of flex around a little bit, you're going to have a hard time. It moves incredibly slowly. So in a straight line, it's fine. Trying to move around in circles or to turn your tank or to even turn the turret, it's very slow to do so. It can be very difficult if you have to make sharp turns or try and, you know, wiggle or zigzag or do whatever to try and avoid being fired upon. It doesn't do that super well, which can be an issue because obviously once you're in some areas, sometimes you have to come up and poke or turn around and do something else. Tank doesn't really do that very well, so you're not going to be doing that too fast. So I would stick to straight lines as much as you can and be very careful where you put the tank. So to give you some examples, obviously the credit earning capacity, I'll run through 3 screenshots of just after battle stats showing you how much money I made, as well as, you know, the victory conditions and things like that, and the damage that I did versus the profit that I made, so you guys get an idea. Basically, you know, it was very good. I made a lot of money playing this tank. It was a lot of fun. It was very capable of doing high damage, and I think you guys will really enjoy it. Those of you that obviously are the better players will make more money. That's natural. But those of you even that, may not be the best player in the world, you're still going to make a lot of money with this tank. It was very comfortable to play, very good. And I think generally players of all kinds of skill levels will really enjoy this tank and will make a lot of money. And that's the most important thing when you're investing your real money into a premium tank, is that you actually feel like it's worth it and it's making you money. So it's very, very efficient for that, and gets very high scores from me personally in terms of the money making capacity. So this is basically a formality, but is the tank worth it to buy? Yes, of course it's worth it to buy. If you're in the market for a premium tank, you should get this premium tank. It should be released very soon here, and it's worth it. It's worth every bit of money you could spend on it. It's really nice. It's one of those tanks that it's fun to play. It's going to make you tons of money. There aren't really many flaws with the tank that it's going to really ruin your enjoyment of it. So I think most people will like it. I mean, a lot of you may see this tank and instantly know that this is a tank that you want. Of course, there are those of you that might not like the tank. Maybe you don't like the kind of playstyle or whatever it happens to be. It is a paper tank, and people do struggle with paper tanks. So I'll understand those of you that, maybe don't want the tank. But regardless, guys, please let me know what you thought in the comments, whether you're going to buy this tank or not. I'm curious. Obviously, I have the tank now. I get to enjoy it. So it might make me a bit more motivated to play tier 8 and grind money. I do need my 113 soon. So yeah, that's probably what I'll be doing. I really enjoyed it, but let me know what you guys are going to do. Did this review help you at all? Let me know, guys. If there's anything that could improve, please do let me know that as well. So yeah, thanks for watching the video, guys, and I'll catch you next time.